The other thing I realized is that I've been missing some pictures showing you. Anyway, I forgot to show you this picture from the last chapter. So this is the threadmaster saying just enough thread for the neck when they put the red thread around Despereaux's neck before they throw him down into the dungeon. And there was one more picture. The next chapter after that, here it is, where the two hooded mice lead Despereaux to the rat dungeon, and then we found out at the end of our time last time that one of those mice was his own brother, Furlough, leading Despereaux to his punishment for his sins of talking to a human. So, last we left off, we heard a voice. We will now be, today we're in chapter 15, and the chapter 15 is entitled Light. Right after Despereaux fainted at the end of 14. When Despereaux awoke, he was cupped in a large calloused hand of a human, and he was staring into the fire of one match, and beyond the match there was a large dark eye looking directly at him.
"A mouse with red thread," boomed the voice. "Oh, yes, Gregory knows the way of mice and rats. Gregory knows, and Gregory has his own thread marking him. See here, mouse."
And the match was held to a candle, and the candle sputtered to life as Despereaux saw that there was a rope tied around the man's ankle.
"Here is the difference between us. Gregory's rope saves him, and your thread will be the death of you."
The man blew the candle out, and the darkness descended, and the man's hand closed more tightly around Despereaux, and Despereaux felt his beleaguered heart start up a crazy rhythm of fear. "Who are you?" he whispered.
"The answer to that question, mouse, is Gregory. You are talking to Gregory the jailer, who has been buried here, keeping watch over this dungeon for decades, for centuries, for eons, for eternities. You are talking to Gregory the jailer, who, in the richest of ironies, is nothing but a prisoner here himself."
"Oh," said Despereaux. May I get down, Gregory?"
"The mouse wants to know if Gregory, the jailer, will let him go? Listen to Gregory, mouse. You do not want to be let go. Here in this dungeon, you are in the treacherous dark heart of the world. And if Gregory were to release you, the twistings and turnings of dead ends and false doorways of this place would swallow you for all eternity. Only Gregory and the rats can find their way through this maze. The rats because they know, because the way of it mirrors their own dark hearts. And Gregory because the rope is forever tied to his ankle to guide him back to the beginning. Gregory would let you go, but you would only beg him to take you up again. The rats are coming for you, you see."
"They are?"
"Listen," said Gregory. "You can hear their tails dragging through the muck and filth. You can hear them filing their nails and teeth. They are coming from you. Coming for you. They are coming to take you apart, piece by piece."
Despereaux listened, and he was quite certain that he could hear the nails and teeth of the rats, the sound of sharp things being made sharper still.
"They will strip all the fur from your flesh and all the flesh from your bones. When they are done with you, there will be nothing left except the red thread and bones. Gregory has seen it many times. The tragic end of a mouse.
But I need to live, said Despereaux. I cannot die.
You cannot die. Ah, that is lovely. He says he cannot die.
Gregory closed his hand more tightly around Despereaux.
And why would that be, Mouse? Why is it that you cannot die?
Because I'm in love. I love somebody, and it is my duty to serve her.
Love,
said Gregory.
Love. Hark you, I will show you the twisted results of love.
Another match was struck. The candle was lit again, and Gregory held it up so that its flame illuminated a massive, towering, teetering pile of spoons and kettles and soup bowls.
Look on that, Mouse,
said Gregory.
This is a monument to the foolishness of love.
What is it? Asked Despereaux. He stared at the great tower that reached up, up, up into the blackness.
What it looks like. Spoons, bowls, kettles, all of them gathered here as hard evidence of the pain of loving a living thing. The king loved the queen, and the queen died. This monstrosity, this junk heap is the result of love.
I don't understand, said Despereaux.
And you will not understand until you lose what you love. But enough about love,
said Gregory. He blew out the candle.
We will talk instead about your life, and how Gregory will save it, if you so desire.
Why would you save me? Despereaux asked. Have you saved any of the other mice?
Never,
said Gregory.
Not one.
Why would you save me then?
Because you, Mouse, can tell Gregory a story. Stories are light. Light is precious in a world so dark. Begin at the beginning. Tell Gregory a story. Make some light.
And because Despereaux wanted very much to live, he said, Once upon a time.
Yes, said Gregory, happily.
He raised his hand higher and then higher still until Despereaux's whiskers brushed against his leathery, time-worn ear.
Go on, Mouse,
said Gregory.
Tell Gregory a story.
And it was in this way that Despereaux became the only mouse sent to the dungeon whom the rats did not reduce to a pile of bones and a piece of red thread. It was in this way that Despereaux was saved. Reader, if you don't mind, this is where we will leave our small mouse for now, in the dark of the dungeon, in the hand of an old jailer, telling a story to save himself. It is time for us to turn our attention elsewhere. Time for us, reader, to speak of rats, and of one rat in particular. End of the first book. And here is a drawing of the old jailer. This is Gregory. Tell me a story. Go on, Mouse. And Despereaux tells him a story in his ear. Now, we're on to book the second, and this book is titled Chiaroscuro. So it's a name. We'll learn more about that name as we go. Chiaroscuro. Chapter 16. Blinded by the Light. As our story continues, reader, we must go backwards in time to the birth of a rat named Chiaroscuro, and called Roscuro, a rat born into the filth and darkness of the dungeon several years before the mouse Despereaux was born upstairs in the light. Reader, do you know the definition of the word chiaroscuro? If you look in your dictionary, you will find that it means the arrangement of light and dark. darkness and light together. Rats do not care for light. Roscoe's parents were having a bit of fun when they named their son. Rats have a sense of humor. Rats, in fact, think that life is very funny. And they are right, reader. They are right. In the case of Chiaroscuro, however, the joke had a hint of prophecy to it. For it happened that when Roscoe was a very young rat, he came upon a great length of rope on the dungeon floor. "Ah, what have we here?" said Roscoe. And, being a rat, he immediately began to nibble at the rope.
"Stop that!"
boomed a voice, and a great hand came out of the darkness and picked the rat up by his tail and held him suspended upside down.
"Were you nibbling on Gregory's rope, rat?"
"Who wants to know?" said Roscoe, for even upside down he was still a rat.
"You smart alecky rat! You smart alecky rat nibbling on Gregory's rope! Gregory will teach you to mess with his rope."
And, keeping Roscoe upside down, Gregory lit a match with the nail of his thumb, and then held the brilliant flame right in Roscoe's face. "Ah!" said Roscoe. He pulled his head back away from the light. But alas, he did not close his eyes, and the flame exploded around him and danced inside him.
"Has no one told you the rules?"
said Gregory. "What rules?"
"Gregory's rope, rat, is off limits."
"So?"
"Apologize for chewing on Gregory's rope."
"I will not," said Roscoe.
"Apologize."
"No."
"Filthy rat," said Gregory. "You black-souled thing. Gregory has had it with you rats."
He held the match closer to Roscoe's face, and a terrible smell of burnt whiskers rose up around the jailer and the rat. And then the match went out, and Gregory released Roscoe's tail. He flung him back into the darkness.
"Do not ever touch Gregory's rope again, or you will be sorry."
Roscoe sat on the dungeon floor. The whiskers on the left side of his face were gone. His heart was beating hard, and though the light from the match had disappeared, it danced still before the rat's eyes, and even when he closed them. "Light!" he said aloud, and then he whispered the word again. "Light." From that moment on, Roscoe showed an abnormal, inordinate interest in illumination of all sorts. He was always, in the darkness of the dungeon, on the lookout for light, the smallest glimmer, the tiniest shimmer. His rat soul longed inexplicably for it. He began to think that light was the only thing that gave life meaning, and he despaired that there was so little of it to be had. He finally voiced this sentiment to his friend, a very old, one-eared rat named Botticelli Rimorso. "I think," said Roscoe, "that the meaning of life is light." "Light!" said Botticelli. "Ha ha ha ha! You kill me! Light has nothing to do with it." "What does it all mean, then?" asked Roscoe. "The meaning of life," said Botticelli, "is suffering, specifically the suffering of others. Prisoners, for instance. Reducing a prisoner to weeping and wailing and begging is a delightful way to invest your existence with meaning." As he spoke, Botticelli swung from the one extraordinarily long nail of his right front paw a heart-shaped locket. He had taken the locket from a prisoner and hung it on a thin braided rope. Whenever Botticelli spoke, the locket moved back and forth it swung. "Are you listening?" Botticelli said to Roscoe. "I am listening." "Good," said Botticelli. "Do as I say, and your life will be full of meaning. This is how to torture a prisoner. First, you must convince him that you are a friend. Listen to him. Encourage him to confess his sins. And when the time is right, talk to him. Tell him what he wants to hear. Tell him, for instance, that you will forgive him. This is a wonderful joke to play upon a prisoner, to promise forgiveness." "Why?" said Roscoe. His eyes went back and forth, following the locket. "Because," said Botticelli, "you will promise it, but you will not grant it. You gain his trust, and then you deny him. You refuse to offer the very thing he wants. Forgiveness, freedom, friendship, whatever it is that his heart most desires, you withhold." At this point in his lecture, Botticelli laughed so hard that he had to sit down and catch his breath. The locket swayed slowly back and forth and then stopped altogether. "Ha!" said Botticelli. "Ha! You will gain his trust. You refuse him, and you become what you knew you were all along. What you knew you were all along. Not a friend, not a confessor, not a forgiver, but a rat." Botticelli wiped his eyes and shook his head and sighed a sigh of great contentment. He set the locket in motion again. "At that point, it is most effective to run back and forth over the prisoner's feet, inducing physical terror along with the emotional sort. Oh," he said, "it is such a lovely game, such a lovely game. And it is just absolutely chock full of meaning. I would like very much to torture a prisoner," said Roscoe. "I would like to make someone suffer." "Your time will come," said Botticelli. "Currently, all the prisoners are spoken for, but another prisoner will arrive sooner or later. How do I know this to be true? Because, Roscoe, thankfully there is evil in this world, and the presence of evil guarantees the existence of prisoners." "So soon there will be a prisoner for me?" "Yes," said Botticelli, remorso. "Yes. I'm looking forward to it." Of course you are looking forward to it. You are looking forward to it because you are a rat. A real rat." "Yes," said Roscoe. "I am a real rat." "Concerned not at all with the light," said Botticelli. "Concerned not at all with the light," repeated Roscoe. Botticelli laughed again and shook his head. The locket, suspended from the long nail on his paw, swung back and forth, back and forth. "You, my friend, are a rat, exactly. Yes, evil, prisoners, rats, suffering. It all fits together so neatly, so sweetly. Oh, it is a lovely world, a lovely dark world." All right. Well, need a drink of water after Botticelli. All right. I think we will stop there for today. When we pick up again on Monday, we will be on chapter 17. If you've been watching, thanks for watching, whether it's been live or if you watch it the recording, and I hope to see you again next time.